Thank you. Thank you. Well, thanks, first of all, to Babe for your very kind introduction. I said it earlier today, is proof of how good a diplomat Babe Romualdez is, that he said how happy he was to be, for us to be visiting. But I suspect the truth of the matter is he can't wait to see the back of us. And to watch that plane fly away. But whatever he went through, it has certainly been worth it, as it has been a remarkable 2 days. I'd like to greet, of course, our friend, U.S. Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimundo, who, as the other previous speakers have mentioned, led a very important delegation. First, because of the nature of it, it was the first ever presidential delegation organized by President Biden and his offices, and which was a remarkable event for us. And even more importantly, was how much work got done. And I have to commend you, Madam Secretary, because the delegation that you organized was very much on point. The people that came were in the sectors of the economy that we prioritized. And I think that's why we were able to prepare very well, because we were already having these deep discussions on those certain areas. So, and that's why I think, as you were saying, that a good deal of work was done, and I'm happy that it was so successful. And we await the continuing stream, as you describe it, to the Philippines. The U.S. Secretary of the Navy, Secretary Carlos Del Toro, the co-chairs of the U.S. Philippines Society, well, of course, our good ambassador, Ambassador John Negroponte, and now our newly minted co-chair, Jaime Augusto Sobel. We have here also the Speaker of the House, Speaker Martin Romualdez. There are members of my cabinet that I have come with me. I'd like to make, of course, a special greeting to the former ambassadors to the Philippines. Well, we are awaiting your return for our private visit. Every time an ambassador leaves us, they promise and they say, well, when we have time, I'd like to come back here for a holiday without work. We're still waiting, but we're ready. We're ready for it. I think Senator Francis Tolentino, there you are, is also with us, and certainly our partners from the private sector, the distinguished guests who have joined us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'd like to first thank the U.S. Philippines Society, who has worked very hard over the past few weeks to organize tonight's event. The U.S. Philippines Society has been a close partner of the Philippine government, particularly through its close relationship with our embassy here in Washington, D.C., and a staunch supporter of promoting Philippine-American bilateral relations, but especially to promote economic cooperation and business collaborations, as well as people-to-people exchanges. I'm particularly pleased to see among the guests here tonight a good number of Filipino and American business leaders, as well as other prominent personalities in their respective fields, as I hope the connections that are made and renewed tonight will lead to even more engagements in the future. Let me also thank our ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Babe, for his thoughtful introduction, and also for the embassy's tireless efforts to prepare for this visit. I know how much work we give you, but I can say without fear of contradiction, it was all very much well worth it. So for this visit, this is a follow-up to the last visit that I came to the United States, which was a bit about 11 plus months ago. And for you following the developments in our relations with the United States, this visit is not at all surprising. During Secretary Blinken's visit to Manila last month, the Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Ricky Manalo, aptly described our relations as being on hyperdrive for quite some time. Increased business sector linkages and people-to-people exchanges have matched the accelerated pace of our engagement across all levels of government and of society. From defense and security to trade and investment, and further still to food security, energy security, our transition to clean and renewable energy, combating climate change, digital transformation, infrastructure development, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, and that is not the complete list. And this just demonstrates the nature of the relationship between our two countries. I was once asked how I would describe the relationship between the U.S. and the Philippines. And for some reason, the word that came into my head was it's dense. We are engaged at every facet of human contact, in every way, as family even, as friends, as workmates, as allies. I don't think that there is a part of the experience of a sovereign nation that is not touched by the relationship between our two countries. And so these are the issues that we have of mutual concern, to promote the well-being of our peoples, to further deepen the ties between our two countries. When we take a look at the remarkable progress we have made in our defense and security cooperation, from the largest iteration of the Balikatan exercises that are about to start right now. The Balikatan, for those who have not heard of them, are the joint exercises between the Philippines and the United States. And we do this annually, and it is part of the Mutual Defense Treaty. And the Balikatan, which we are undertaking presently, there are some pre-events. The formal start is not yet, is in a couple of days. But it is going to be the largest, most extensive, and will cover more more areas, especially in terms of interoperability, than ever was before. Now we have also established the bilateral defense guidelines, and of course the expansion of the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA, from the original 5 sites to now 9 sites. It would be quite easy to see that we are in a good place as far as our alliance is concerned. And for me, this means that our alliance matters. It matters because our increased and intensified defense and security engagement with the United States means that we are significantly contributing to our country's ability to defend our security and address the threats in at least 3 ways. Through the U.S. assistance to and support for our armed forces modernization program. Second, through frequent joint exercises, training resulting in enhanced interoperability and honing the skills of our 2 militaries. And third, through increased deterrence by highlighting the strength of that alliance. We cannot rest our laurels. We have done well. We have come a long way. I think that we have responded in a proper and measured way to the challenges that have been put before us. But we cannot sit back and say that the mission accomplished quite yet. The nature, the intensity, and the potential disastrous consequences of the security threats facing us today necessitate that we work harder and continuously improve. I am reassured, though, by the groundwork laid by our officials for the future direction of our alliance, including the development of the Security Sector Assistance Roadmap, as well as the signing of the General Security of Military Information Agreement, both of which, I'm told, are very close to conclusion. I am further reassured by the commitments made to me by President Biden and his officials that the U.S., the United States, will stand by the Mutual Defense Treaty, which has been described from the President down as ironclad. Another key pillar in our relationship is, of course, economic cooperation. I have said on several occasions, including here in Washington, D.C., that economic security is national security. For the Philippines, a critical component of economic security is nurturing and growing our economic partnerships with the global community. Economic cooperation with the United States is, of course, a priority. It is paramount to the Philippines. I have the good fortune to undertake this visit on the heels of a highly successful presidential trade and investment mission to the Philippines by Commerce Secretary Gina Raimundo last month. Secretary Raimundo, as she has described, has headed a delegation of 22 prominent American businesses and nonprofit organizations in ICT, infrastructure, energy, logistics, financial services sectors. According to the Department of Commerce, the U.S. Department of Commerce, the mission has generated over $1 billion in American investments and concrete projects in the Philippines, creating educational and career opportunities for an estimated 13 million Filipinos. The PTIM was the first high-level trade and investment mission from the United States during my administration, and I am confident that it will not be the last. As I mentioned to President Biden yesterday, there are still a lot of opportunities to enhance our trade and our investment relations. In particular, the Philippines is actively seeking American partnership in critical minerals, where we aim to move up from the upstream to the midstream in battery production, even as we ensure the sustainability of resource extraction and secure the supply chain for these critical minerals. Other areas in our priority list that we believe will bring great opportunities for economic cooperation with the U.S. are clean energy, particularly nuclear energy, especially as we look to provide affordable and reliable energy sources for the entire country to power our industries, the digital economy, semiconductors, and critical infrastructure. Regarding infrastructure, we are excited about participating in the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment to help attract high-quality investments to the country. These are, and there are, of course, other areas whose potential we are also looking into. But let me just highlight that in our conversation with both the U.S. government and the business community, we have showcased ongoing and future economic reforms that we intend to implement in the country to create a welcoming and attractive environment for greater investment from our international partners, and that includes, of course, the United States. Of course, the headliner of this visit is the trilateral summit between the Philippines, Japan, and the United States, which I attended yesterday with President Joe Biden and Prime Minister Kishida. As I told my American and Japanese counterparts yesterday, the summit is a testament not only to the strength of our respective bilateral relationships, but also to our firm commitment to expanding these relationships into new directions and creating new synergies as we address critical challenges and work toward uplifting the lives of our peoples. We agreed on a joint vision statement on our meeting yesterday as a roadmap for the future. The trilateral cooperation, the statement covers diverse areas, from greater maritime domain awareness and Coast Guard cooperation to sustainable critical infrastructure, semiconductor supply chain resilience, digital transformation, energy security, harnessing renewable and clean energy. Indeed, our trilateral defense and security cooperation builds upon our respective bilateral defense and security ties. The Philippines and Japan are close allies of the United States, and in recent years, there has been remarkable progress in Philippines-Japan defense and security relations. Once we conclude the reciprocal access agreement with Japan, similar to our visiting forces agreement with the United States, we will witness even greater engagement amongst our three armed forces. Nowhere is progress in this area more important than in the maritime domain. It is no secret that Japan and the Philippines are involved in maritime and territorial disputes, not with each other, but with other parties. While the United States is not a direct party to these disputes, both its treaty obligations to come to the aid of the Philippines and Japan in case of an armed attack by a third party, as well as its commitment to uphold freedom of navigation and a rules-based order in the seas, means that the U.S. has vital interests in East and South China Seas. It is therefore of particular importance for our three countries to work closely together on maritime-related issues, including the broader areas of maritime safety and security, maritime domain awareness, maritime environmental protection, and other issues, as these are part and parcel not only of our respective national security interests, but also because cooperation in this area contributes significantly to regional peace and stability. However, peace and stability require another lifeblood to endure. I cannot overemphasize the importance of building a secure, inclusive, and interconnected economy for our nations and the region to provide the prosperity and security of our peoples. Through deeper cooperation, we bring concrete investments and projects to the Philippines today, not tomorrow, to help us achieve our goals. We are working with the U.S., with Japan, to establish the Luzon Corridor under the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment to support high-quality investments in the country and to ensure inclusive and resilient progress. This includes enhancing the transportation of goods and services in strategic hubs, developing food security and agribusiness, securing semiconductor and critical mineral supply chains, clean energy. It is a monumental project, and we aim for nothing less than transformative and sustainable. As we advance deeper into the digital era, we will ensure our connectivity infrastructure and workforce are ready for a robust digital economy. Together with the U.S. and Japan, we are building a digital landscape that is secure, reliable, and accessible. These cyber bridges we are building will not only connect islands within our archipelago, but will connect the entire country to the global digital market. Lessons from the pandemic and recent geopolitical developments compel us to secure global supply chains, especially in the semiconductor industry, where the Philippines is ready to participate and to absorb the additional capacity necessary to future-proof the semiconductor value chain. Working with our allies, especially Japan and the United States, is necessary to protect our interests. In support of this goal, we are exploring trilateral cooperation to build a resilient semiconductor industry, including opportunities to upskill the Philippine labor force. The key to achieving progress is also energy security. As we transition to clean energy as a responsible step to combat the effects of climate change, the Philippines will need ambitious programs, nuclear energy in our energy mix. With the help of partners such as U.S. and Japan, we are moving closer towards our nuclear energy ambition. Our goal is to provide reliable, affordable, secure energy for the entire country to sustain the inevitable growth that is now within our grasp. As I return to the Philippines tomorrow, I will bring the good news to our people that our alliance with the United States has become stronger, bolstered by our economic engagements, close people-to-people ties, and reinforced by our growing friendship and cooperation with like-minded partners in the Indo-Pacific region like Japan. More importantly, I bring home the commitment from our three countries to sustain the momentum of this increasingly close partnership in the years to come, all for the benefit of our people and for the security of our region. Thank you and good evening.